Hello, everyone, and welcome to Beyond the Ball. I am Collie. Sorry, you just got caught by Connor's message there.
Yes, you are, Collie. Well done.
Easily distracted. I am Collie. This week we are joined by Big Paddy. Paddy, what's happening?
What's the crack, lads? Good week of football all around. And when I say all around, I mean all around me, because United are great.
Oh, this is going to be the fucking team of tonight, isn't it? And we have Connor as well. Connor, what's happening?
It looks like he's after coming out high.
Yeah.
Couldn't hear any of his.
Cheers, Paddy. You do you, Tom.
Right, lads. Depressing football. Paddy, big grin on his face. Me and Connor slightly depressed. We are currently watching Liverpool as well.
I think so.
Yeah, well, we have Spurs on, which is incorrect. Paddy needs to sort that show. I don't know why he would need to sort out, because I mean we're doing stuff that's not illegal and like that. But yeah, lads, I fucking hate football. I'm back to hating it. So we're going to be talking about it because we hate it so much. So lads, we're going to be talking about obviously the weekend football, the results. We'll be going through each match and getting the representatives' opinion of their club. Then we're going to look at the fancy football. We'll have a quick update on the league, and then we'll look at the weekend's football. So, lads, we're not going to dick around. We're going to jump straight into the football review. Lads, know what I'm going to do for crack. I'm going to go live on Instagram as well. Just for a laugh. I'm going to ignore it, but I'm going to stick it on for the laugh so people can just watch me talking to a screen. They won't be able to hear anybody else, but
it'll be a great laugh.
Great laugh for everyone. So yeah, lads, first game we're talking about, unfortunately, is Chelsea and Brighton. Do you have any questions to ask me, lads? Because I don't like football.
So, really, a Chris Potter out?
No comment.
No comment.
No comment. I'm only messing. No, absolutely. Chris Potter out. Yeah, Chris Potter has to go.
Really, you wouldn't give him a bit of time?
No. I didn't want him coming in. I didn't want him coming in as manager as it was. So lads, I said it at the very start. I said I wasn't going to give him an inch. If as soon as the results went, I said I was going to fucking jump on him. The performances have been slipping, and we've been getting lucky results because of world class keeper performances. And now they're not happening. So I know it's only one result, but it's enough for me to feed off it. And I'm going to call for his fucking head. And that's going to be the team of it.
You're making...
Can we crop that out so you say, I'm not going to call for his head? And it makes it seem like
you're making Chelsea fans seem a bit like spoiled children. Because, okay, he came in, and because you didn't even know his name at the start for the first couple of weeks he was in charge. But you didn't know. Let's be real here. Because he wasn't a big name. He wasn't a big Abramovich name that, like, you know, he'd paid big bucks for. You know, he's just some bloke off the street. You just don't want him there. It's a typical Chelsea plastic fan.
But look, if you were a Chelsea fan and you went from Thomas Tuchel to fucking Chris Potter,
we went from Jose Mourinho to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer.
Yeah, I know, but you had extremely bad results before he was sacked, and the fans were nearly calling for Mourinho. The fans weren't calling at all for Thomas Tuchel. No Chelsea fan would have called for Tuchel to be sacked. Yeah, fair enough. The performances weren't as good as they were because obviously winning the Champions League, you kind of go into the next season thinking you're going to win the fucking league and you have high hopes. But when stuff doesn't go to plan, like, I think he just jumped the gun on sacking him. Like, I think it was very fucking premature. So yeah, I'm going to call for Potter's head every single time that I get the chance to. Even when we win, I'm going to be extremely critical of his performances and his tactics because he proved against Brighton there that he made a bollocks of it. Team selection was wrong, for one. And formation starting off again was wrong because he stuck with the same thing that he done against Manchester United and changed it after 5 or 10, or no, what was it, 30 minutes? Changed it after 30 minutes because it was Manchester United, but didn't do it because it was Brighton. And then we ended up getting fucking spanked for it. So, like, where do we draw the line there?
So I'll just ask one more question for that. Sorry, Connor. The ownership now, are they under an awful lot of pressure for this to work out for them, this managerial appointments? Because as you said, it was kind of a shock move to get rid of Tuchel and get him in. So they're under a lot of pressure for this to work now. If it doesn't work out, do you think they'll have the fans on their backs?
Well, me personally, I am gonna get on. Well, look, I think Paddy, me and you talked a little bit about it when we had the little reaction video after the match, that it looked like Todd Bowley was the person to take over, was the right person. But he's after putting needless pressure on himself by sacking Tuchel very early. And yeah, I think that the talk of him investing a lot of money into the club sounds great. The link with all the transfers that we could potentially getting sounds great. But we have to see these things come into play. So he's got a manager in so far. He's done one thing. And for me, it was the wrong appointment. I know he's probably thinking that that's what all the Chelsea fans want, because they're all local Londoners who want a homegrown manager to be great. He's one of our own, one of their own. As such, I don't give a bollocks about it because I'm not English. So I'd rather have an experience. I'd rather have an experienced French manager than a fucking English manager. Doesn't bother me. So in terms of him being under pressure, yeah, he probably will be, but I don't think to the extent where it's the Glacier situation.
No.
Yeah.
Jesus, no.
No, I don't think. It's definitely not that extent.
Connor, sorry, over to you, my friend.
That's not really. I'm thinking we should go light this week. Do you know what's the point of talking negative all the time about clubs in general? So.
Oh, come on! You know Liverpool.
Do you know what?
Back off.
Do you know what? I don't mind talking negative about it, because I'm happy to voice my opinion that I want the manager sacked, and I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck who knows it. I don't like Potter as a manager. Doesn't excite me. Doesn't get me juices flowing. And it's 1-0 to Napoli. And you love to see it. You absolutely love to see it. And Connor's hanging his head in shame. And lads, that's where I'm going. Oh, his camera's gone. His camera's gone. He's gone. And this is exactly why I am taking. I'm getting off the Chelsea match and we're moving straight on to the Liverpool game. Connor, to rub salt in your wounds. Yeah, you've lost 2-1 to Leeds at home. Talk to me about this one.
Good side, great manager. They had belief. What more do you want? Celebrate birthdays. Goal check for VAR. He's offside. That's all right. Don't worry about it.
Fucking suck a dick.
He wasn't.
He's actually
not. Wasn't him.
Wasn't him. Was offside.
No, the fella that had the goal wasn't offside.
That's a goal, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a goal. All right.
Come on, Napoli. Yeah. So Connor, look, where do we start? We touched on it last week. We couldn't give you a proper grilling last week because you went into hiding, but we did get a little bit of a reaction
to give you what I thought. So I didn't want to be that fella who goes into hiding.
I know, I get that. Yeah,
he was very good actually, by the way, as well. Very good.
I'd say.
Yeah.
The impression of he was very good as well.
I thought both of us nailed the impression of you in fairness.
Yeah, he did.
So
I listened back last week, and in fairness, both of us on the Monday doing it nailed what Paddy was going to say before he said it. So like,
yeah. We were like, yeah, and then Paddy's probably going to be saying this, and he'd already fucking said it in the podcast. So I don't know we were going to say that. So Connor, we have to go on to Klopp being under pressure, and I know it's a touchy subject for Liverpool fans because, like we said, he's done a lot for the club. Is he now under pressure? Like, that's a home loss against Leeds.
I don't think there's pressure on him. There's pressure on Pep Linders, the assistant, because he released a book 2 weeks ago about the style of football, and now all of a sudden the style of football is non-existent. So I'd definitely be having words with. I'm not saying that the fans are looking for his head, but if I was Jurgen Klopp, why are you releasing a fucking book about the style of football Liverpool play while you're still in charge? Save that for when you retire, you know. But that hasn't helped things because he's put out his book about high press football, and it's like there's enough.
Yeah, nobody knew that.
Yeah. So that's news to us, in fairness. But yes, it's hard to look because I don't want him to go, and I think he is the reason that Liverpool aren't further down the league and had challenged for so long. That squad, we looked at it last season, at the start of last season, we said it wasn't good enough to challenge. And yeah, they didn't win a hell of a lot, but they challenged on all fronts. That's all I wanted. And we started this season, I said the squad wasn't good enough to challenge, and this is the year where it's actually coming back to what we all thought, really. I'm just hoping that this is the final. The owners are taking money out of Liverpool without investing, and I hope this is the reason why. Here we go.
Offside.
I know. It's offside. Grand. Happy days.
Fuck you.
No, I just really want some depressing music to be playing here while you're talking. I'm sad.
I'm just really called for investment now, and that's anyway. Last 3 seasons I've sat here and said we need a new midfielder, we need a new centre half, and.
But what about your defence? Because you've got Van Dijk, supposedly one of the best defenders in the world, and Alisson, one of the best keepers in the world, and they're making an awful lot of mistakes this season.
Yeah, but you picked 2 out of 5 there, Paddy. What about the other 3? There was never confidence in the way Trent defended when Liverpool didn't have the ball, and they always had 80-90% of possession, so there was never an issue. That's what you had it for. That's what you were playing it for.
He's a great defender when he doesn't have to defend. It's fucking deadly.
We didn't need to defend for years.
Yeah.
Was that because do you reckon that's because of Mane's high press, like as in the work rate he gave for his kind of higher up the pitch? But like there has to be another thing though, because we do say that Mane is the reason that the ball's kind of coming out a lot quicker than usual. But like, what about your midfield? Like your midfield, they still have to go through a midfield then.
That's what I was saying. That I don't think Mane was the one who starts the press, yes, but midfield, and I think Carragher and Neville said it 2 months ago, and it still hasn't changed. Is midfield are still letting the opposition midfield turn with the ball and play passes past the high line, which is always going to be dangerous. There's not the legs in that midfield that there used to be with Wijnaldum, with Fabinho, who has gone completely off the boil. And then there's obviously this rotation between Keita being injured, Thiago not being fully fit the whole time. Look at this bullshit. That's the goal. Like, sorry, VARs that are coming up here with this new assisted decision thing. It's absolute horseshit. I
like it.
But how real is it? Like, is that just not a fella that's drawing it himself to make it look obvious, do you know?
I'd say you take a still picture and you're able to just manipulate it to get to a certain angle of it. Like, I like the way they do that.
Boy, how come it took 4 minutes if the image was that clear?
I think they're trying to determine there where the lowest point where he can actually use the score.
Like, Mala.
It looks like Mala, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's like Mala.
Images.
Love the smell of Mala.
Like Mala. But no, it's just the midfield is what's needed. There needs to be an engine. There needs to be a box-to-box player in there, and there's not at the moment. There's no one who can do it.
Who's to blame?
James Milner starts right now. Do you know?
Who's to blame though? Because, like, seriously, it has to come down to really, like, the buck stops with the coach. If the coach, like, obviously Klopp is one of the best coaches in the world. He's been there for so long, but he's seen this demise for a long, long time. And he knew it would reflect badly on him if his team are going to be playing bad. So maybe he just was a blind spot and he missed it. And now he can't get them back up after last season, the disappointment of last season. So it has to be down to the coach.
Well, he's come out during the summer and said that he wants more midfielders, but that's just not something that they can do. So is that a dig at that he doesn't have the funds? I don't know. But we go back to this thing about here's fucking...
good save.
I'm not going to go out and slate my employers when they're paying me fucking wages, you know? No matter what they do, I'm not going to say something in the public eye because I'm getting cash off of it. So if that's the case, but he has come out and said that he wants more players. He wanted a midfielder. He wanted a box-to-box midfielder. He mentioned midfielders by name who apparently they bid for and didn't win bids for it, but how real is that? I don't know. He mentioned Federico Valverde. Whether a bid went in or not, I don't know. He mentioned Aurelio Tchouameni, who went to Real Madrid. He mentioned your man Camavinga for Real Madrid. Did bids actually go in for these players? Who the fuck knows?
Do you not
There's
think,
no
like,
way.
see the way you were saying about, like, you just want to say anything about your employer, and obviously fucking you don't obviously say anything about your employer because they pay your wages. But do you not think he's at the stage now where, when you get so comfortable that you kind of, not you start giving a fuck, but you get a bit more braver and you start kind of saying a little bit more and pushing the boat out a little bit more. Like, do you not reckon he's well within his right to start doing that now and actually calling out the fucking owners for not giving money? Like, surely he has to, like.
I would say
It's
he's
under, right?
the least comfortable he's probably ever been in that seat.
Yeah.
Because he's gone, he took over obviously at a low point with very little expectation, went up and now fallen off a cliff. So there's a lot more expectation on the shoulders of that team. If that was that team 8 years ago when he took over, we wouldn't really give a shit at the moment, But because he got the success, now it's questions of what's happened. I do think bigger impacts than Mane was losing those impact players like Minamino, Origi, those fringe players who came in to change things.
Yeah.
Liverpool can't change things after 70 minutes now. There's no impact players on the bench, especially when you have your Luis Diaz, those kind of players out injured. So they are missing impact.
So, well then, but that's even a bigger case then for it being down to the coach, because whatever about him not being able to sign players, but for him to allow those players to leave and not fight them. And when you come into this summer transfer window now, he started at the club. It was a rebuilding job. He was there for a few seasons and he's after getting great success. But because the squad has deteriorated now pretty badly, is it another rebuilding job? Is it another 2-3 seasons before you'd hope to see Liverpool back fighting for the league?
I'd hope not. I think there is. Again, we go back to like the injuries and great. Is that something that happens in training? Is that poor medical assessments done when signing players? I don't know where the fucking book stops there, but there's been an unusual amount of injuries over the last number of seasons that clubs do go through injuries, but for some reason Liverpool are going through a hell of a lot more injuries, and it's either the training or it's they're buying players who are fucking crocs.
Okay. Connor, your injury list is Diego Jota, Matip, Melo, who doesn't even play, Luis Diaz, and Keita. Like, Diaz is the big one there. Like, and obviously maybe Matip there beside Van Dijk, but like I think the likes of Kanate is probably on the same level as them. Like, do you not think that the only real injury there?
Matip.
What?
Let's call a spade. Kanate's played 10 games in the last year and a half. He's not close to Joe Matip in the level of performance.
Yeah, maybe sharpness he's probably not, but like the main one there is Diaz. But the problem is your lack of squad depth. Like when you look at kind of your bench, it's not the strongest bench in the world. You have a few people like that could come on, like the likes of Nunes and stuff like that. He'll come on, you probably get your goals, a bit of a donkey at the same time. Like you have Fabio Carvalho. There's a few players that can sit in there.
Look, if you're looking at tonight, look who's starting. James Milner is starting tonight.
Yeah, but I mean, Milner's not a fucking bad player. He's actually going off, but like he's not the worst player. I know he's fucking old and whatever. Like,
is he a top 4 player? Do you want him in your midfield?
No. But he's definitely not.
That's what I mean.
But who else do you have? I know you have Thiago starting there and you have Fabinho, but like you don't have the squad depth.
I never said we did have the squad. I just said that getting rid of impact players was a reason why Liverpool can change things. I don't understand what the question is.
That should be picked up over years rather than just all of a sudden.
So you're saying it's the manager's fault?
Because I'm saying he has to. I know, like you're saying there is like if the owner's not investing, if he's actually putting in these bids for players, but like an aging squad and a kind of a weakening squad over years is very obvious to anybody that's a Liverpool fan. You've had a really, really strong 11 and really got lucky without injuries over the last 2 or 3 seasons. I know he's had Van Dijk and stuff like that getting injured, but he's able to kind of overcompensate with the likes of Salah and Mane scoring fucking 40 goals a season.
For 4 months last season.
Yeah, but last season
was there for 7 months last season.
Yeah, but you're able to overcompensate. Last season wasn't. You didn't win on last season, so last season.
Won 2 trophies last season.
Yeah, I'm just
saying. You're saying that injuries didn't play a part, and then we've picked 4 of the top 4 of the last 3 or 4 seasons who are out injured for the majority of best part of the season. Salah wasn't out for the majority of the season, but Firmino was, Van Dijk was, and Salah was out for 4 months or whatever it was.
I just think the injuries is just it's a shit excuse. I know it's an obvious excuse, like
it's
an
not
obvious
it's
thing.
not an excuse. I've also said that there isn't enough people in the squad. They should
Part
have
of the reason.
they should have replaced those fringe players. But it seems to me that the book has to balance, and that's what it came down to. Shipping Origi off with a decent sized wage, shipping Neco Williams off for 20 million, shipping Minamino off for 18.5 million. These seem to be book balancing exercises as opposed to improving the squad.
Yeah, because you're not really getting anything to replace them. Like,
but the commercial side mustn't be great then, because like they're finishing high in the Champions League and the Premier League every single season. There's a lot of prize money there. They're not like in transfers. They're doing well in terms of net spend. So is it commercially they're just not great?
Liverpool are one of the few Premier League clubs who are consistently turning profits as a commercial entity. They have turned profits.
Massive fan base.
But because of that great statement that they have as the owners, that's to come to the detriment of the squad, and you can see that now.
They saw they had an opportunity not to invest because the squad was doing well, and it was just a money maker. Thing only came out from James Pearce. He's a journalist during the week that LeBron James is obviously an investor in Liverpool. Invested 4.5-5 million, I think, a couple of years ago. LeBron James has taken over 100 million out of Liverpool in the last 4 years from his returns and his investment. It's not his fault. He's an investor.
How much did he put in?
Back. He put in just under. I think it was under 10 million. I think it was $10 million, give or take.
And he's gotten back how much?
Over 100 million. He's wiped his shares out and he sold on basically from obviously his annual returns plus selling on. He's turned good bank out of Liverpool. So
that's good enough.
Good business, man.
It's great for him. Fair play to him. But there's money out of Liverpool into Fenway Sports Group, which is probably where he put his money into his investment, and they got dished out. We don't know whatever way the venture capital group works. But I do think they saw Liverpool as that cash cow where we don't really need to do too much. It'll turn us money while we put our focus into, like, I think they've invested in AC Milan now as of this season. They put a lot of money into AC Milan with signing your man De Castro and stuff, like big money signings at AC Milan. I don't know what their share ownership is. I'm not going to say that's the reason why, but I think
you don't want your owners own more than one.
If they want to keep getting the earnings they're getting out of Liverpool, investment has to go in first.
And then you can see now they're probably saying that Liverpool are probably from a stock price or they're at one of the top levels they're going to get. So AC Milan now are prime now to bring up. If they get them more successful, that's when their share prices fly through the roof. They make a lot of money on them. So invest in them now. Speculate.
We also bought Liverpool at a dirt price because Gillette and Hicks wanted to do real quick, real sharp, because Liverpool went through that thing kind of similar to what United are at the Glaciers, where they called for the head of the owners. They need to dig it out to save some investment, and they took it at a dirt cheap price. It was 260 million or whatever it was.
See, this thing of owning two clubs, Paddy, like you're just saying there. I think the only way that works is if you own like class them as like a parent club, where there's a different level of
feeder club and parent club,
feeder club, yeah. So I think that's the only way it really works. If you're saying that the guy that owns Liverpool wanted to buy AC Milan, like that's mad in my opinion, because what if they meet in the Champions League? I know it's a team is a team, and it's at the end of the day for him it's just an investment in it. But as a supporter of a certain club, you're probably not getting the full attention that the club may need because there's time and money spent elsewhere.
Fenway Sports can't have the resources there to be able to fund two top-flight European clubs to be consistently successful over a long period of time.
I think they're also looking on the other side, like the Italian league not flying at the moment. Can it get any worse or can it just get better? And I know we're saying it from a football supporter's point of view. They're not football supporters.
Yeah,
they don't give a fuck what happens if their investments turn money. And I'm not saying fair play to them, but that's the game they're in for.
Business.
They put up the cash. There's not a lot we can do, but it's a sad reality of it. I think, and again, just to go back to the actual team, and Klopp and the players have covered that up for a lot, because I said you're not gonna, if United won the league for 4 years in a row, or challenged for the league for 4 years in a row, or got far in Europe for 4 years in a row, there won't be protests outside looking for the Glazers' heads. You still hear
they're gone already. Fucking a couple of results.
But this is not.
You'll hear him and Han of it, but you won't see protests. It's only when teams start to struggle that's when you start.
But let's talk about the consistency here, because you're talking about their United if they won it 3 or 4 times in a row, and we've seen top managers at Liverpool, seen it at City now, seen it at United, seen it at Chelsea, that when they're there for, well, not really at Chelsea, but when you see them there for a long period of time and they're rebuilding teams. Now, I only say Chelsea because they're short-term managers. They've turnarounds, you know what I mean? So you see at these clubs that
Chris is in for the long term. He's a lifer.
but with Klopp being there now, for needing to be there for 7 years now, he's going to be there for another 3 maybe. This should be his second squad now, and it still feels like his fourth squad that's really, really aging, and it's going to be another big rebuilding job to get this back to catch City, because they're nowhere near City, a million miles away.
No, yeah.
But that must be sad as a supporter, and that has to come down to the coach then. So, like, what do you do then? Like, if you see the coach then doesn't have the resources either, it's a tough one, I know, as a supporter.
That's why I was saying about the coach or the manager, Klopp in this case, coming out and maybe saying, like, look, we need fucking investment, and kind of not like I was saying, not saying that you don't give a bollocks, but you kind of say, right, well, look, I've done my bit. I've had a successful couple of years with the club. Now it's time for me to start getting what I deserve and my money and me building
his
my
reputation
squad
as well.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Like,
yeah,
he's only got one job left in football, and that's the national team of Germany. That's him done. I don't think he cares about that reputation that he has, because he'll walk into a German job where Hansi Flick goes. My big fear is, if Liverpool keep struggling this season and if Germany have a poor World Cup, where does that set the German FA to offload Hansi Flick next season to try bring him in? He still has 4 years left on the contract, so it'll be expensive. And on the flip side of it, I can see that being the reason why Liverpool keep him, because they're not going to fucking try buy him out of his contract, which is probably 15 million for another 3 years to bring in somebody else. It's not within their interest. They might as well leave him there until things start to really turn from a support point of view. That's the only way
but when does that happen? Because, like, look, at this stage, we know now that we're not entirely blaming Klopp, because we can see the squad isn't up to the scratch that it should be up to. But if you start going into next season where you've gone through another 2 transfer windows and you've had a lot of time during the season to assess where you really are, next season, if you perform at the same level that you have been this season, does that then start turning on do the fans then start turning on it? Or did he start going protests with, like, fucking United doing with the Glazers?
I can see him saying something next summer if this year turns out as bad as it looks, as in regards to investment needed. Yeah, it's hard to call for investment after, like, obviously last year they didn't really win anything big, but on a whole, everyone was pretty happy with how the season went. Especially me, seeing how I had them 4th in the league. I had them getting knocked out of the Champions League in the last 16, and I had them winning nothing, basically. So to where it finished off, happy out. I think it's hard to go and say we need investment after that. People will tell you, shut the fuck up. If it's a bad season, it's a lot easier to say invest. And I think that's when we will see him step out. Or if he doesn't step out to say it, I can see him walking, to be honest.
I just think it's just a massive turn from last season, challenging for a quadruple, losing one player and then one major player. We're going to call him major player. Obviously, you've lost the likes of Minamino and fucking Divock Origi.
Yeah.
But one major player, and all of a sudden now we're fucking sitting where you're 7th in the league or something.
But a major player where you wouldn't have thought it was such a vital cog to the wheel. Like,
you wouldn't, because
there's actually another vital cog in there that I think is the reason why, and I have no explanation for it. I have no reason, and I can't understand why Luis Fabinho is as bad this year as he is. He's actually, I only saw a statistic, again, James Pearce put it up on Twitter during the week. Luis Fabinho has lost possession more times this season than he has won possession. How many times have you put into, like, WhatsApp groups, Collie, when Liverpool played Chelsea about the length of his fucking legs. He just won the ball stuck to him. And I think that is a really big. I can't even see him getting into the Brazilian squad for the World Cup. Like I can't see him getting close to Casemiro, Fred, these kind of players who play in deep roles for Brazil. So I don't. If he shores up, the midfield shores up, and the pressure kind of comes off a little bit. But I honestly, there you go. Just fucking taking your man out of it. Like I don't know what he's.
Yeah.
What he's at this season. I don't know if he's too old. Is the intensity too much for him? Does he have it in his legs season after season?
One last one before we move onto Manchester United. Virgil van Dijk, like what's happening here? We're gonna put them we're gonna put them all together. We're gonna say your defense, because Trent, we know, like, people are singing now. We know the type of Liverpool fan that was saying this. He was the best right back in the world. We know, Connor, myself, and yourself know types of Liverpool fans that have been saying that. What's gone wrong in terms of your defense this season?
What a ball, Trent!
That is a great ball. but there's a lot gone wrong, and like that was the major reason why he's actually won the league, I thought, because he's got the likes of Van Dijk and Alisson in, and they completely changed the whole thing. They allowed us to do other things. This season it just doesn't seem to be happening for Van Dijk in particular and Trent, two of your best performing players over the last 3 years.
I've never seen Liverpool give up as many chances. Well, I've definitely seen them give up loads of chances. But I mean, in the last kind of couple of years, I've never seen them give up as many chances.
Yeah.
And the bit that annoys me about Van Dijk is the standing off players. It's almost like he's wrapping himself in wool for the World Cup.
That's what it's like, isn't it?
Which is wrong, because the Dutch team don't pay him.
Yeah.
Whatever they pay him, but they don't pay his wages week in, week out. They're not.
Usually them wages go to fucking charities or something like that.
Yeah, they're not your employer, so work for your employer first and foremost, and that's what it looks like. But again, if is it this thing where you had this inflated thing because Liverpool kept clean sheets? Like Alisson played his 200 game last week. Alisson's kept over 102 clean sheets in those 200 games. They're not coming this season, and they haven't come in the last couple of months. So you can knock 25 games off of that and see how many clean sheets he has been keeping. So they weren't conceding chances. Are they getting more exposed now and they're actually showing flaws? That's what it seems like to me. That when you can go at them, when you can run at them, when you can isolate the people like Van Dijk, when we know if you isolate Trent, what you can get out of him. And was it covered up because Fabinho was winning the ball back first, because the front three were winning the ball back high up the pitch and they weren't being exposed? I think that's what it is. But on the flip side of it, Van Dijk standing off. He never did that before. He never stood off players. And now he has this thing where straight away he'll give them 2 yards to shoot, protecting himself for the World Cup, is what it looks like to me.
Fair enough. Right, we're going to move off to the pressing topic of Liverpool and Chelsea. We're going to move on to something that might cheer Paddy up.
Even more depressing.
Yeah, even more depressing.
Start the podcast on a high rather than fucking the last 40 minutes of depressing shite.
Paddy, are you happy?
You fucking loved it, Paddy. You loved it more than this.
Yeah. Paddy, are you happy? Yes or no?
Extremely happy.
Right, we're going to move on. Right?
More so after the weekend. There's some new stuff to talk about after the weekend.
Come on, Paddy, right? 1-0 against West Ham. Talk to me. What are you feeling?
Well, let's start at the back. David De Gea's performance, exceptional. But not only his shot stopping, because we knew he could do that, but his distribution this season has improved dramatically compared to what it was last season, and even at the start of this season. After the first 2 games, I think Ten Hag saw that was a massive problem, and where a lot of the confidence issues came with the back four and him on the ball. He couldn't control it, but his distribution is a lot better now. And then Ten Hag even got a clean sheet out of Harry Maguire. So I said, I think it was an Instagram live or last week, that if he can coach Harry Maguire to become a linchpin in that defense and a successful defender that's getting consistent clean sheets, has to be counted as a really, really good coach. And I think he is shown that he's one of the best coaches around at the moment. The weekend was a very resilient performance. West Ham were really good. We were under the cosh for long parts of the game. I think the fatigue got in from the games over the previous 2 weeks, and you could see it there. But again, we defended very, very well. Finished out 1-0 result, and good weekend all round.
Paddy, moving on to comments that I kind of made on the live that kind of surprised you. I'll get Connor's thoughts on what I've said, and does he think I'm probably jumping the gun a little bit? I was just talking about Ten Hag in terms of how we handled the Ronaldo situation, and we were kind of saying, like, what were my thoughts on the whole situation? And I was kind of comparing the handling of it to something that we haven't seen from Manchester United in a long time, where a manager has kind of stood up to a player and showed a bit of bollocks. And it reminded me of, I hate saying it, but the Fergie era, where you had Fergie kind of demanding that respect and getting that respect from the players.
David Beckham.
Yeah, exactly. And fucking
something in my eye. Hold on.
but it is very, and I was saying it to Paddy, it is a worrying thing for everyone that's not a Manchester United fan because of seeing how Ten Hag handled that situation. Because it looks to me like he's got a fucking pair of bollocks and he's got a personality and he knows how to manage players, which Fergie was probably an expert at. Would you agree with them type of comments, or do you think they're probably a bit much?
I probably agree with it, but we've also seen the opposite side of players who know how to handle, managers who know how to handle players end up the opposite way as well. Like, look, when Mourinho came in, took a hard stance against the bullshit, and the players won. So there's obviously is some buyback from the players in the dressing room to back the manager against the player specifically, maybe. I think that falls flat when you have too many of those type of players in your dressing room. I think the balance in there is right. You have a couple of those prima donnas, but you haven't got a dressing room full where you had a young Jesse Lingard, a young Paul Pogba, a dressing room full of those individuals. So if you can keep that balance right, the style of management works. And again, I can't really see him going out and buying that kind of flashy Instagram player, you know?
Yeah.
He's going to bring in grafters. I think the problem is, again, if you go back to what Paddy said earlier about Liverpool, is how far they off of City.
Yeah.
And what's available in the market to get them closer to City. And the fear is that the only people who are left available are flashy Instagram players. So if you want to get there, I think they will be more ruthless. And we saw that, like, typically a United game, they will go 1-down and then come back and win 2-1, and there'll be a great result, but there'll be cracks all over the place.
Yeah.
A 1-0 win where they were under the cosh for the last 20 minutes is not something that we've seen recently. It's usually the flip. So it's a different kind of win for United. And as you said, it hasn't been a win that they've seen since, like, the greats of, like, David Moyes and stuff. So
I think, like, when I'm talking about, like, player management and stuff like that as well, and Paddy, you can chime in on this one. Like, for me in particular, the three people that he's managed brilliantly in terms of what the fans want to see and what I think the squad probably want to see as well. One is the handling of Ronaldo and letting him know that he's not bigger than the club and the club doesn't revolve around him. Second one was Bruno Fernandes in terms of making him the captain, which leads me on to the third one, which is Harry Maguire, and taking him out of school, the club, or out of the squad, dropping him, and then obviously in turn Fernandes gets the captaincy. So I think in particular them three handlings have been very good. None of them seem to, other than obviously the Ronaldo situation, like Bruno has completely flipped his game, because last season we all thought, right, he done it for one season. The season before he was brilliant. There's a goal.
Yeah, goal.
1-0 to Liverpool.
Three more in the top of the group.
Jesus. So I think that the handling of the three of them players in particular is what kind of impressed me. And obviously the signing of Martinez, who seems to be a really good, aggressive defender that I don't think United have really had for a good while. Would you agree with that, Paddy?
Yeah, United's backline has been really bad, but yeah, with Ten Hag, and he had other options there for this weekend. So you could say, like, look, Harry Maguire shit. But Gareth Southgate sees something in him, and he plays very, very well for England. He did play well for Leicester while he was there, and he did have a good season for United as well. But I think the confidence of the whole team just went. Again, there was too many. Connor touched on it. There was too many rotten eggs in that fucking dressing room, and I think it brought a lot of the players down. And especially for Harry Maguire coming in as captain, you had so many people that thought they were the main man in that dressing room. It must have been incredibly difficult, and it slowly ate away at his confidence. But I think what Ten Hag done now which was really good, was to take him out of the squad for a little while. I know he got injured. I know he did get injured, but he did get dropped at the start. But took him out of the squad for a while, let him completely reset, because this is what's after happening now. Because United now are on an upturn in form, all the fans now have forgotten about, Harry Maguire's shit. Let's put all the blame on him, and he's allowed to come back, integrate back into the squad now, a successful winning squad.
Yeah,
and you can see there the weekend.
Women's squad or winning squad?
What did I say?
I thought I said women's squad. And I was like,
no, winning squad. Well, he identified for a couple of weeks there. That's how he got his confidence back in the women's squad. But to see a manager like that tactically as well, to be able to make changes in the game, it seemed like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was there for like more than the 2 years he was, because tactically he was so inept against all other managers he came up against.
It was another thing we touched on, Paddy. It was that whole culture comment that we used to always hear, and we used to always take the piss out of, where like they used to say Ollie's bringing back the culture, and I used to always just say, was Manchester United's culture not winning fucking trophies? Like, and I always said to myself, why are they saying that? And I get the whole, like, he was there when Fergie was there, and he's a protege of Fergie from kind of looking at what he's taught him, like. But now I'm seeing this type of manager that's really controlling all the players and controlling the media. Even he seems to be handling well, and that's what I class as the Manchester United culture as such, like, rather than the Ollie thing.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. I think what United fans were talking about when they were saying the culture when Ollie came in was that the dressing room was poison. When Ollie came in, and he started to fix that. He started to make the place more harmonious. Now again, it went back the other way then, because tactically the players got frustrated, and I think the confidence went down. And again, that's when you get problems in the dressing room as well, because maybe he lost a little bit of respect for his lack of technical knowledge. I think what you've got in Ten Hag now is you've got the whole package. You've got someone that's keeping the dressing room and the squad harmonious, and tactically he knows what he's doing as well, and the players respect him for his tactical knowledge in the game as well.
Yeah,
so it's
fair enough. Connor, have you anything else to add to it?
Nah, fucking no.
Paddy, have you anything else that you want to cover before we move on to having a look at the fancy football and then the weekend's fixtures?
No, Paddy, that's great. Thank you.
Right, lads.
He's already came.
Yeah, he's done. Finished. Right, lads, we're going to move on to the fancy football now. Right, lads, I'm going to pull up the screen again. If anybody's watching or listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, this is where you go over to YouTube and you can see some fantastic stuff. Right, lads, up on the screen, fancy football. So I suppose my team's on the screen there, so I'll start off with mine. Average of 59 points, lads, and I got 65, so slightly above average. The highest of the week was 134, which is fucking mad. Arrizabalaga getting goal, conceding 4 goals and then going off injured. Not great. So not a top performance from Kepa. Then we have Bourne, who got me 6 points. We have Dallo, who got me 9, and then Saliba, who got me 7. I had Rashford in, who scored a fantastic header. I have Pereira, who got me 3 points. De Bruyne got me 11. Martinelli with 8. Zaha, who I was going to take out, and I kept saying to the lads at work, I was taking out Zaha and I was putting in Joe Linton. And I said, fuck it, I won't, because I know if I do that, Zaha will score 2 goals because he was at home. And I fucking didn't do it, and fucking Joe Linton ended up scoring 2 goals. So sick over that one. Then Jesus and Kane up front. I think a lot of people had a feeling Haaland wouldn't start, so everybody made sure their vice captain pick was the best pick they could do. Then I Tarkowski on the bench with 6 points, and then Zoom as well, who kicks cats, so he wasn't going to be him. Right, lads, on to the next person's team. Paddy, want to talk us through your team here? Good week.
Yeah, good week this week. Not for the Tottenham keeper though, unfortunately. Tottenham lucky again this week, 2-0 down, 3-2. People say, oh, they were brilliant to come back and all, but no, they were shocking the last couple of weeks. And yeah, I suppose we've got to do predictions in a while, but yeah, they didn't do great. Defense done very well then. If we move down CB7, Trippier 11, Schär 6. Like Newcastle are doing so well. It's performing so well, and then Cancelo 6 as well. Gonna have to change Fernandez now in the midfield. He's banned for the next game after getting another yellow card. Martinelli, Almiron, Foden, and Rashford. I'm looking forward to the pick where we can start changing our whole team now during the World Cup, and then Jesus up top. Rashford be captain, obviously, but I done that even before we started the weekend because I had an idea Haaland, even if he did play, would find it difficult at Leicester. I just had a feeling.
Okay. Right, and then Martial obviously injured, Haaland, and then Dyer on the bench. So right, we'll move on to Connor's team if we can find it. Here we go. Connor, talk to me.
Yeah, I played wildcard because I hadn't done fantasy football in a couple of weeks, so I said I've got to change everything. Played a wildcard, made a lot of changes. I think I changed pretty much everyone. So I brought, as Paddy said, Newcastle defending pretty well, especially. Brought Nick Pope in and Fabian Schär at the back, and they gave me 6 each. Cancelo has been there all season, got me another 6, and the same as Saliba. And then Connor Cody came in for Haaland. Obviously, didn't play and got me 7 points with a nice clean sheet for Everton. Finally took out Pascal Gross and brought in Trossard. Didn't matter because Gross scored as well, which is horseshit. Pereira obviously getting 3 points for the clean sheet. Brought in Almiron after scoring and getting 2 assists last week, and then got himself 2 goals this week, or a goal and an assist.
2 and assist, I think. Let me just check. One goal and an assist.
Kevin De Bruyne been a long stay in the team as well. So left team in, played well. Struggled up front. Captained Harry Kane, knowing that Haaland wasn't going to play, and he did fucking nothing. I think he got a yellow card. That's why he only got the 2 points. And then Ivan Toney the same. Booking suspended for the next game, so I had to make some changes there. And not much on the bench. Zuma, and I had De Silva from Brentford, who did absolutely nothing. Yeah, okay. Happy. I think most I've got in a game week so far because it's like concentrate. So I'm trying to concentrate now going forward.
Well, you had an excuse. I think you were away on holiday anyway, so you had an excuse, a good excuse. Looking at the league table, lads, O'Shane Kane is still top of the league. He's been there for a while. He's been second and first. So O'Shane's still there. 862 points he's on. 61 points he had this week. Then we have Connor Ennis with great team name. 848, 67 points. James White comes up to third place. A good week for him. 79 points. 846. Dean Fletcher 77 points. 843. Collie Lamb drops a few to fifth with 842, 65 points this week. Johnny Murphy up to 6th with 838, 74 points. Winner Bills, Callum Warfield, 69 points. Love that. 835. Jack Butler down to 8 with 822, 55 points this week. Poor week for you. Anto O'Rourke, 820, 63 points. And then staying in the top 10, we have Adam Nestor with 818 points. 54. Yeah, Haaland out. So, Paddy, me and you had this last week, and we were questioning Nestor's team name, and we were saying, is it a brand of oats? And Connor picked up on it. Connor, would you like to explain what this is?
Yeah, so I listened to the pod last week, obviously, when I wasn't on it, listened on the bus going into work, and I heard, it's a brand of oats for Haaland Oats. Daryl Hall and Paul Oates obviously being a famous double act / pop band from the 80s, which obviously didn't click with the musician or the guitar fella, so a little bit disappointed there.
Yeah, so it's a band. Yeah, and you know what, Paddy? I said the exact same thing, and then when I started playing some of their songs, I was like, actually, they fucking have some good songs.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, like most of them.
What's the main one?
You're making my dreams come true. Ooh.
Oh, there was another one. Anyway, I'm not fucking spending my time on that. Fuck them. Right, lads, that's an update on the old fancy football. We're going to jump on to the predictions for this weekend. Right, lads. First match up. It's a doozy. Chelsea and Arsenal. Although it's actually not the first match, but look, it's the first one I'm talking about. Chelsea and Arsenal, lads. Obviously, Arsenal flying form. Top of the league. Chelsea, not so much. How do we see this one going, Paddy? I'll come to you first.
When is it on?
It's on Sunday.
Sunday.
At 12 or 12.
All right, so European football won't really affect it too much. I don't see anything but an Arsenal win here, to be quite honest with you. Maybe a draw, but yeah, I'm going to give Arsenal just to pip it. 1-0, I'm going to say, and Jesus to score.
Okay. Connor, what do you think?
Yeah, you would back Arsenal with the form going into it, but they've been a little bit cagey against the top four, whatever you want to call them, so far this season. And yeah, still have gaps at the back. I know Chelsea are struggling to score goals, but even still, there is mistakes in there. I'm going to call a draw. Chelsea being at home, I'm going to say 2-2. But I am going to back Martinelli.
Yeah, I don't see where Chelsea's goals are coming from, to be honest with you. Especially with Potter not starting fucking Aubameyang in the last game, and relying on Kai Havertz to score our goals. I don't think he's the man to score or the brunt of our goals this season. So I think we really might struggle. I'm gonna say 1-1, and I'm going to say if Chelsea score, it's going to be a defender that scores it, because our strike and fucking our forward line isn't really doing the job. So I'm going to say 1-1, and I'm going to say I have a feeling Azpilicueta might start, because he should have started the last game. So I have a feeling Azpilicueta will start. If he does, he's going to score. So that's where I'm going. Next one, lads. Villa and Manchester United. Connor, what do you think of this one?
Thought Villa was going to get the new manager bounce back last week, but then absolutely slapped around the place.
Yeah, they got it for 1 week.
Yeah, I'm sure Stevie was fucking delighted watching them get absolutely rocked around the place. I don't think Emery was in charge. No. So this should be his first game in charge at Villa.
Good evening.
So if anything, we will get a good press conference out of them at least. But I'm sure they will be harder to score against. Again, going forward, they have names in there, but is there quality in there to actually score goals against United, who we've said have been a little bit more resilient this season? I don't think so. A little bit tight. I can see it being a little bit cagey like the West Ham game. I'm going to back United 1-0. And I'm going to say Ronaldo's Christie to get a goal.
Paddy, what do you think? How do you think you're going to fare out here against United?
I think it's been a long first half of the season. I think the games are starting to catch up on the players from a fatigue point of view. We have a big game on Thursday against Real Sociedad to top the group. But it's early enough, so they'll be back early on back Thursday night, hopefully. So, but a slim United win, 1-0, and Rashford to score.
All right. I think United are comfortably going to win this one, lads. Goal. Nunes.
The horse. Come on, the horse. Not even he could miss that one.
Van Dijk doesn't even want to celebrate with him.
It's because you robbed it, in fairness.
I gotta say, I'm gonna say a comfortable 2-0 win for United. I don't think they'll be under much pressure. I think they'll dominate most of the game. And you know what I'm doing, Paddy? The exact same thing I was doing with Liverpool, where I said they were going to win every single game. Because if I get this right, it's great. I can clip it. So I'm going to say a comfortable 2-0 win for Manchester United.
Should be easy.
They won't be under any pressure. They're going to dominate the game. And I'm going to say Christian Eriksen will score a free kick. Right, lads, Spurs and Liverpool. Paddy, how do you think this one's going to go?
I think Spurs will be Spursy, and I think Liverpool will win. I just do
Liverpool.
every time. every time you think Spurs are coming back, and they're looking good under Conte, then they just bottle it against one of the bigger teams. And I think this weekend will be another case of that. And I'd say Liverpool won't smash them, but 2-1, and I'll go for Salah to score.
Okay, Connor, what do you reckon?
Yeah, Liverpool obviously haven't got the wins, but not been rolled over by, again, those top teams this season. They've all been tight enough games. Not picking up enough points on the road. It seems the majority it has been. Like, I think 90% of their points have come at home so far this season. So, tight game. I'm going to say a draw. I'm going to say 1-1. And I will back Mo Salah.
Okay. I think Spurs are going to win this one, lads.
You've spread it again. Happy days. No losing.
I think it'll be a handy win for Spurs. No, I think Spurs will win probably 2-1. I think it'll be cagey enough game. I think it'll be a very open game. But yeah, I see.
How can it be cagey and open?
Because I feel like it's going to be end to end.
Sounds like a bad prison.
I feel it'll be end to end. I feel like the midfield
won't be
have
cagey
anything to do with it. Well, it will be, because they just won't be able to break each other down, and it'll be back and forth. And they'll
Cagey means you don't want to do anything because you're afraid. Like, so you just...
Yeah, but they're going to do it on either end. Like, they're going to be afraid to do certain things on either end of the pitch. So that's why I think it's going to be open, but it's going to be cagey.
Talking about spreading your bets here, fucking hell.
Yeah, I'm doing everything here. I can really clip this one down. Like you did, say Klopp out. We all heard it.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say
Chris
2-1.
Parr.
Chris Parr, I don't know what you're talking about. 2-1 to Spurs, and I'm gonna say Son to score because he is my son. Right, lads, that's it. It's been a good episode. Hopefully next week we can be a little bit happier, and Paddy might be a little bit sadder.
The only good thing about it is, and I was looking earlier, Liverpool only have 3 more games till the World Cup, which means they get like a month and a half off. Yeah. Shit. So like,
I have to go through them 3 months with fucking Potter still as manager though. I want a game after game after game, loss after loss after loss. So he goes.
Does it make it better or worse that we'll go
What
from Chris Potter to Stephen Kenny for like 2 weeks?
It's quite depressing. Stephen Kenny in. You heard it here. Right, lads. We're gonna call it a day. We will be back next week. Same time? No, we're gonna be back at 8:00 next week, probably, are we? Depends.
Hopefully.
This way past my bedtime.
Okay. Right. Well, we'll be back next week at some stage. Who knows when it'll be. If you are watching on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, make sure you follow, subscribe, like, comment, all that good stuff. If you're on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, make sure you give us a 5-star rating so we're sound. So, Paddy, thanks for joining me this week.
Thank you.
And Connor, nice one.
Cheers, lads.
Right, we'll see everybody next week.